Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 16. So Module 16 is the last module in the class and it encompasses the final for the class. So you just have a couple of things to work on. Remember that this module does end on a Wednesday though. So we do not have a full week for this one. All Allen classes end on a Wednesday this semester. So keep in mind that you will not have a full week for this. A couple of things that you want to do. First of all, you may want to do a overview reading review of the grammar stuff that you've learned this semester. So anything within those grammar chapters that we looked at could be possibly on the final quiz, and so you may want to go back through and just give yourself a little refresher. You can also always look back at the quizzes themselves. You can look at what you did on the quizzes. You can see the questions that you got right on the quizzes and that kind of thing. The final grammar review quiz does pull questions from all of the quizzes that you have already taken. There's a good chance that you will have different questions, but that doesn't mean that you can't look back at those previous quizzes just to see, you know, what types of questions there were. And then you can take it multiple times. The highest score is recorded. There's no time limit. It's not like a final exam or anything. It's just a final review quiz. The last thing that you'll work on for the class is a final reflection essay. This is technically an essay assignment, but I don't necessarily grade it like I've graded your other essays for the class. It's more, did you answer the questions? Is it readable? That kind of thing. And then you get your points for it. So this is mainly to reflect on the class. You want a couple of paragraphs, at least 3. A lot of students will do an introduction, a body paragraph, and a conclusion, and answer questions within all 3. So you don't necessarily need an actual thesis, but a lot of students will put in a sentence at the beginning or somewhere in the introduction that really gives an overview of how well they did this semester. And that serves as sort of a thesis for the essay. Biggest accomplishment, what are you proud of? Something you would have done differently or least proud of. So you can see a lot of these questions can be answered together. And so that's another thing that students will do is they'll kind of group question answers together. And then typically, like, the biggest takeaway for the semester and something maybe in the future when it comes to your writing, that's more of a concluding thought. And so they'll put that in the very last paragraph as they're wrapping things up and concluding. So it doesn't necessarily have to feel like a formal essay, but you do want to make sure that it's formatted and everything so that it's easy to read and you've got your name on it and all of that. And that is how the reflection should look. I do have a little grading rubric here that I don't necessarily go through and leave a lot of comments on because it's the end of the semester, but I will sometimes use it just to add the points up. And so that might be used as well. You can kind of look at that. And then the last thing in the module is the end of course survey, which you're welcome to take for 5 points extra credit. I think it's the exact same questions as the midpoint survey, but basically this is just the one that I look at, so I'm the only one who sees the results, and it just gives me some ideas for something that I could do differently maybe in the future to help students out a little bit better. So that is your last module for the class. It will be open at the same time as Module 15, so you have plenty of time to work on it. If you have any questions as you are completing these assignments, please send me an email. Otherwise, have a great end of your semester and a wonderful summer.